Grace Kids, welcome back to another lesson. I hope everybody's Thanksgiving break was well. It was wonderful. I hope you enjoyed time with your families, or maybe just whoever was in your house, because you know social distancing. But anyway, today in our Bible story, we're going to talk about a man named Absalom. He is David's son, and we're going to talk about how he used deceitful ways to get what he wanted and to try to achieve his goals. So right now we're going to turn to page, 2 in our little Bible Adventures pack, and it says Sneak Attack. Hope you all can see that. And we're going to read it together, and then we're going to go over a couple of scriptures that I have highlighted, and then we're going to do our activities. So as we can see, we have a page called Sneak Attack, and we did say that Absalom was deceitful in some of his ways and way he tried to achieve his goals. And I'm guessing this is Absalom, but I'm not going to get ahead of myself. I'm going to read the text first. Okay, so Absalom, which is pronounced Ab-sa-lum, okay, was one of King David's sons. Okay, Absalom had killed one of his brothers over a serious family problem. David was so upset that he refused to let Absalom stay with him. David later forgave Absalom and allowed him to return to Jerusalem. Okay, now we can already tell what kind of person Absalom is. He killed his brother. So let's keep reading. I'm not passing no judgment. Okay, so this scripture spotlight comes from 2 Samuel chapter 15, verses 1 through 6. Okay, in the course of time, Absalom provided himself with a chariot and horses, and with 50 men to run ahead of him. He would get up early and stand by the side of the road leading to the city gate. Whenever anyone came with a complaint to be placed before the king for a decision, Absalom would call out to him, "What town are you from?" He would answer, "Your servant is from one of the tribes of Israel." Then Absalom would say to him, "Look, your claims are valid and proper, but there is no representative of the king to hear you." And Absalom would add, "If only I were appointed judge in the land, then everyone who has a complaint or case could come to me, and I would see that they receive justice." So he's already trying to manipulate people, guys. Okay? Let's read along and we'll talk about it. Also, whenever anyone approached him to bow down before him, Absalom would reach out his hand and take hold of him and kiss him. Absalom behaved in this way toward all Israelites who came to the king asking for justice. And so he stole the hearts of the people of Israel. So he was a smooth talker, manipulator, that kind of thing. Now, what do Absalom's actions tell you about his attitude and towards his father, the king, who is David? We talked about David, many lessons. Now we're talking about David's son, Absalom. So Absalom, I would say, according to his actions so far, I would say that he didn't respect or love his father. One, he killed his brother. Two, he started manipulating the townspeople, the Israelites, and he stole their hearts away from the king. So, hey. He didn't respect or love his father, and he was trying to turn the people away from David, who is his father. Okay? So that's what I think about him so far. How do you think Absalom would describe himself? So I would think that Absalom would have described himself as a fair judge who would help them with their problems. Okay, because that's what he said. That's what he said right up here. He said, "If only I were appointed judge in the land, then people who have a complaint or case would come to me, and I would see that they receive justice." So he would say that he was fair and honest. Okay. Next question. What was wrong with what Absalom was doing? Absalom was being underhanded, okay? Meaning he was being sneaky, okay, in what he was doing. He was trying to take over the throne, okay? He was trying to win the hearts of the people first, so that way if he, came against his father, nobody would object. And he was not being honest or fair, like he would have described himself to be in the first place. But sneaky, manipulative, all that bad stuff. Okay. So let's read on. Absalom made secret plans to set himself up as king. He tried to take away the kingdom that God had given to his father, David. Absalom gathered an army together and marched on the city of Jerusalem. David was stunned by the news and fled the city with his officials. For a time, it seemed that Absalom's sneaky ways had succeeded. But God was with David. God gave David a loyal spy named Hushai, okay? Who became one of Absalom's military advisors. Hushai was widely respected for his wisdom and sound advice. So he's a wise man. That's a good guy. Hushai caused Absalom to delay attacking David's army, allowing David's army to build his forces and defeat Absalom's forces in battle. While Absalom rode his mule, his head got caught in a branch of an oak tree. Well, his head was too big. I'm just kidding. And his mule rode off. Joab, David's commander, found that Absalom was hanging there and killed him. Wow. Okay, so now let's read in our Bibles right here in 2 Samuel chapter 15, verses 7 through 12. So I have that pulled up here. At the end of 4 years, Absalom said to the king, "Please let me go and pay my vow, which I have vowed to the Lord in Hebron. For your servant vowed a vow while I lived in Geshur in Aram, saying, if the Lord will indeed bring me back to Jerusalem, then I will offer worship to the Lord." The king said to him, "Go in peace." So he arose and went to Hebron. But Absalom sent secret messengers throughout the tribes of Israel, saying, "As soon as you hear the sound of a trumpet, then say, Absalom is king at Hebron." With Absalom went 200 men from Jerusalem who were invited guests. As they went in their innocence and knew nothing. So they were being deceived anyway. They were being lied to. Okay. And while Absalom was offering sacrifices, he sent for Athapal, the Gilonite, David's counselor from the city of Gilo. And the conspiracy grew strong, and the people with Absalom kept increasing. So the more people came along with the lies. Okay. And a messenger came to David saying, "The hearts of the men of Israel have gone after Absalom." So basically, Absalom have turned the people against his father. Then David said to all his servants who were with him at Jerusalem, "Arise and let us flee, or else there will be no escape for us from Absalom. Go quickly, lest he overtake us quickly and bring down ruin on us and strike the city with the edge of the sword." And the king's servants said to the king, "Behold, your servants are ready to do whatever my lord the king decides." So basically, Absalom was using his little deceitful, sneaky ways to turn the hearts of the Israelites away from his father, the king, and towards him. So he was trying to win their hearts so that way he could be king. Now let's look back at 2 Samuel chapter 5. 2 Samuel chapter 5, verses 3 and 4. This is on David. This is about David. Okay. This is about how he went about his business. So all the elders of Israel came to the king of Hebron, and the king David made a covenant with them at Hebron before the Lord, and they anointed David king over Israel. David was 30 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned for 40 years. What were the differences between the way David got to the throne and the way that his son Absalom attempted to become king? So let's understand the question a little bit. Let's create some contrast between Absalom and David. Absalom was David's son. That's one difference. And David was a king, whereas Absalom was not. David was righteous and just in his ways thus far. He did things according to the Lord. He always gave thanks. He always worshiped the Lord. He was a good guy. Absalom however, had a track record. He's already killed his brother. He's sneaky. He's manipulative. He's already trying to turn David's kingdom against him. Very sneaky guy. Okay. Absalom did some under the table things, like he tried to send out spies. He, tried to manipulate the people, just to win their hearts over. David just did what the Lord told him to do. Those were the differences between how, and also David was anointed by God, whereas Absalom was not. So, those were some of the difference between the two. Those are some differences. Now let's read on. David had waited patiently, trusting God to bring him to the throne. But Absalom was sneaky, like I said. He tried to take the throne from his father by turning the people against David, which is his father. He lied and used all the wrong ways to get what he wanted. That's not good. We can't do that. It's not how we get things done. Lying only digs you further into a hole that you already dug. So, how was David named king? Where did it happen? What was the attitude toward David of the people who were there? David became king after Saul died in battle. He was anointed king by the elders of Israel at Hebron. The people remembered David's leadership in battle and knew that God had anointed him. So David was anointed by God, at Hebron by one of the elders of Israel. After King Saul had died in battle. David did not kill King Saul in order to get the throne. Saul died in battle, and therefore the next in line was David because he was anointed by God. Okay, so how did Absalom try to get himself named king? Where did it happen? What are the people doing there? So Absalom tried to become king by turning the people against his father. Manipulation, okay? Absalom was also in Hebron, and he arranged for people to say Absalom is king of Hebron. So there's a lot of manipulation going on, a lot of lies. They helped him plot against David. So it was a really sneaky, underhanded way to go about it. Okay? So he did not go about it right. In the end, he got his big head caught in the branch of an oak tree. And even his donkey could not save him. Anyway, what was wrong with what Absalom did? Well, one, he was very sneaky and underhanded, meaning he did things the wrong way. He did whatever it took to get ahead, which is not good. He rebelled against his father, David, and he encouraged the Israelites to turn against their king, David. That's awful. Okay, so we are going to read aloud Psalm 63 real quick. Okay. I want to say it's going to be first couple of verses. Psalm 63 says, David wrote this psalm, when he was in the wilderness of Judah. Okay. O God, you are my God. Earnestly I seek you. My soul thirsts for you, and my flesh faints for you, as in a dry and weary land where there is no water. So I have looked upon you in the sanctuary, beholding your power and glory. Because your steadfast love is better than life, my lips will praise you. So I will bless you as long as I live. In your name I will lift up my hands. My soul will be satisfied as with the fat of rich food, and my mouth will praise you with joyful lips. When I remember you upon my bed and meditate on you in the watches of the night, for you have been my help. And in the shadow of your wings I will sing for joy. My soul clings to you. Your right hand upholds me. But those who seek to destroy my life shall go down into the depths of the earth. They shall be given over to the power of the sword, and they shall be a portion for jackals. But the king shall rejoice in God. All who swear by him shall exult. For the mouths of liars will be stopped. That's a pretty cool little psalm. I like that. That's one of my favorite psalms, by the way, if you guys wanted to know. Okay, so David had a lot of trust in God in this psalm, And he expressed it in this passage. When we trust God fully, we must trust him to supply all of our needs, okay? And we don't need to use sneaky, underhanded, manipulative means to get what we want or need, because we have to trust that God will do what he said he will do, because it is written in his word, okay? All right. So we are going to, talk a little bit more about David real quick, and then we're going to move right along to the next page. David trusted in God in all situations, not just when he faced Goliath. David also trusted in God to take care of him while he was fleeing from Saul and when his son Absalom tried to kill him. Because David was faithful and obedient, God blessed him in many ways. So what were some of the giant-sized problems other than Goliath that David faced? So, one, he had the problem of Saul being jealous and how Saul hated him. David had to flee from Saul's army as they pursued him through the desert. And Absalom, his son, tried to take the throne away from David. So that's a lot of giant-sized problems other than Goliath. How can you be like David? That is a good question. I would have to say we could be like David by being courageous and being faithful. Being courageous, I mean, knowing that God is going to do what he said he was going to do. Knowing that God is with me. He goes before me. He's behind me. He is always with me. You know what I'm saying? We have to trust God. We have to believe in him and know that he's a good God and he has plans for our lives individually. Not just the same ironed out plan for everybody else, because everybody's different. And I just feel like we have to trust God that he knows us enough to create a plan that will prosper us. Let me come back because I'm fixing to start preaching. Okay, now we will face many giant-sized problems in our lives. David put his trust in God to help him through all of his problems, not just one, all of them. We can do the same thing because God loves us and he cares for us. He is always there ready to help us with all of our problems, ordinary ones and those that seem to be giant-sized and impossible. There's nothing too big or too small that God cannot help us with, period. Okay, so we're going to go right up here, and I want you guys to do, this is page 1. It says the path to success. Okay, some people think that success means being rich, popular, or famous, and that it doesn't matter what you do to reach that kind of success. That's not true. But the Bible teaches that success is being and doing what God has planned for you. Help these 5 mixed up people get on the path of success by changing their wrong attitudes. So we're going to see that all of them have bad attitudes. Follow the path from each person to a Bible verse that can help them. After you read the Bible verse, write a success attitude. So I want you guys to actually do this for homework. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one with you guys. And I'm going to do a path. I'm going to start with this little kid here. It says, it's okay to lie if it helps you get ahead. Wow, what a bad attitude. Okay, so we're going to follow his little, I need to get something else, a draw, yeah. We're going to follow his little attitude to a scripture that's going to help him fix it. So we're going to follow this line. And yes, my line is crooked, but y'all have to realize that I'm trying to draw with a mouse, and this is not what I usually use to draw with. So just bear with me. And boom, right here. We're going to read Proverbs. Wow. We're going to read Proverbs. What? Yes. We're going to read Proverbs chapter 12, verse 17. So I'm going to go right here and go to Proverbs. Woo. Chapter 12, verses 17. Yes. Right here. It says, I'm not making this up, okay? It says, whoever speaks the truth gives honest advice, but a false witness utters deceit, okay? That's basically a liar's a liar. Truthful witness by a good person clears the air, but liars lay down a smoke screen of deceit. So if you're being honest with somebody, you're just being honest. Okay? You're not making any kind of ulterior motives or anything. But if you're lying, it's like creating a fog screen. You're telling people things that aren't true. So basically, let's say that you go to your teacher and she asks you, do you know how to lead an activity, because I noticed that you did really good at it yesterday. And in your mind, you know that you only did well yesterday because your friend helped you, and the person who is really good at this activity is your friend. But you want to be a leader, so you tell her, I know what I'm doing. So in turn, you go lead this exercise and all the students do it wrong. Okay? That's the first lie. You told her you can do it. The second lie you would have to tell is to cover up your first lie. So if she goes, why are all these kids doing it wrong? I told you to lead these kids in an activity that you were good at, obviously. And you would probably say something like, well, they don't know what they're doing. They weren't listening. You know what I'm saying? Lies to cover up lies, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And all you had to do was say, I'm sorry, Mrs. So-and-so, but I only did well yesterday because my friend Mariah helped me do it. She should be the one to lead the exercise. Something like that. So that's kind of what you have to do. So in here I would write, tell the truth. I would say it's better to tell the truth to help you get ahead. Boom, done. That'll be your homework for the next time I see you. So now we're going to talk about our Bible study, and then we're going to go on to, are you a chameleon kid? Hope not. Okay, so what are some of the good lessons that you learned from today's Bible study? So probably some of them will be negative, like you shouldn't try to fool people or be proud. If we only use your own way to try to be successful, you will fail. So if you don't use God's help in your ways to become successful, then you'll fail, because you need God's help, obviously. And you don't try to lie to people to get what you want, because you have to make a bigger lie to cover up the first lie you made. And then it gets bigger and bigger, and you just dig your hole deeper and deeper, and it just gets bad. Absalom got his big head stuck in an oak tree, so you can see how that left him. Now, this Bible study gives us a picture of how not to try to get to success. But the Bible also tells us what attitude God looks for in a person. Like these attitudes these kids don't have up here on page 1 that I want you guys to do for homework, okay? So in this page for homework, I want you guys to try to find out some of the good attitudes to replace all of their bad attitudes. Like I said, I did one already, this kid here, about lying. So y'all just finish the rest for homework. Now we're going to move along to the last exercise, and it's called, are you a chameleon kid? What do we think chameleon kid means? Okay, so we saw today how being sneaky caused a father and a son to become enemies. Absalom tried to sneak his way onto the throne of Israel. Sometimes we may be tempted to hide some of the truth about our own beliefs or likes or dislikes in order to get something we want to. Absalom acted like a chameleon to make himself popular with the people of Israel. He told them what he knew they wanted to hear. So, right here, we're going to read this passage real quick. It says, the chameleon is a lizard that changes color according to its surroundings. Changes in temperature, light, or the lizard's feelings control these changes. When it is angry, cold, or against a dark background, the chameleon appears black. When it is relaxed, warm, or in a light background, it appears pinkish. At times, we change like a chameleon. We change to fit our surroundings too. We let people and situations control what we do and say, even if it means not being completely truthful. It's especially tempting when we think it will make us more popular or keep us out of trouble. How much do you change in a situation? Read the following statements and then color in the chameleon that best describes you. So I cannot do this for you, unfortunately, but you guys can do this on your own, and it will help you realize if you are a chameleon kid. I hope not, Because to me, that seems like a lot of work to change your attitudes and things you do according to the surroundings you were in or the group of people that you hang out with that do not do the same things you do and increase your bad habits. Okay. So what you need to do is fill out this page, and it's telling you a situation, and then you color in which chameleon best describes you. Usually, sometimes, never. And don't just put sometimes because you're straddling the fence, okay? Be honest, okay? The first one says, I say what people want to hear instead of what I really think. I used to do that all the time. I'm not gonna lie. I used to do that all the time. But now, I don't, because I just feel like it's a lie, and I'm never gonna get out what I really feel to other people. You know what I'm saying? If something's wrong, I'm gonna say, hey, that's wrong. Don't do that. Back in the day when I was a kid, I'd be like, yeah, going along with the crowd, y'all do y'all thing. That's cool. But that's not the case. It was probably self-destructive. And so it just gives you a bunch of situations and you match it according to you. Okay, and our key verse says, do not steal, do not lie, do not deceive one another. So what do you think it means by do not deceive one another? So the word deceive is related to the word sneaky. And we do know that our main character, Absalom, was a sneaky little fella. He had a sneaky, manipulative ways where he would lie to the people, manipulate them, and turn them against his own father, who happened to be the king. So what does it mean to deceive, deceive one another? Words. Do not be a chameleon kid. Don't act phony and pretend to be someone you're not. That is exactly what it means. Don't con others, which is lie, into doing what you want. Okay? Meaning you don't have to pretend or put on a costume every day just to get people to like you or hang out with a certain type of group. Just be yourself. It's a lot of work. I know. Been there, done that. And you should not manipulate others into doing what you want them to do as well, because that makes you look bad, not the other people, because you're the one that's manipulating them. And if the situation doesn't work out, they're gonna be mad at you. Yes. So right now I'm going to close in prayer, and then we're going to dismiss. Remember, we have pages 1, which is the path to success for homework. I did do an example here for you all. So all you have to do is do 1, 2, 3, 4 more, and then write out the right attitude they should have in each bubble, okay? And if you need help finding the scriptures, you have parents, uncles, aunties, grandmas, grandpas to help you. And then the last page we're going to fill out is sort of a personality thing where you find out if you are a chameleon kid or not. And if you are, hey, that's okay. You need to pray. Ask God to help you not be a chameleon kid, because he knows you. He knows what you do every day. He's not going to judge you. He's going to help you do better. Okay? So there's that. So we're going to fill that out. And remember, our key verses: do not steal, do not lie, and do not deceive one another. Okay? So I'm going to close out in prayer and dismiss. Okay, everybody close your eyes and bow your heads. Father God, I want to thank you for allowing us to get together and allowing us to learn more about you and your word and what you want us to do, God. Lord, help us this week to not be chameleon kids. Help us grow in your word and learn that lying and deceiving each other is not the right way to get what we want, not the right way to succeed. Help us learn that you have a plan for us, and it is a good plan to prosper us, to help us succeed in life. And your word, your plan for us will come to pass in the end. Thank you for just being here for us, and amen. I want to thank you all for coming out and listening to Bible study, participating and learning about God. And I want to also inform you that we have an important announcement tonight in Bible study. So make sure you are tuned in and listening, because there's a very important announcement coming soon. So I will see you guys next week, Wednesday, and we will be talking about lesson 10, which will be trusting God's wisdom. Have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday, and we'll see you guys tonight. Bye.
Now let's do our video blur.